Yes, yes, there he is.
Dímelo
Homie,
Records.
Dímelo Records. What up, what up? Homie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, man. This
It's
is
an honor, brother, to have you here from Queens all the way to Silicon Beach.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, for all the listeners, Hommy Diaz is the senior designer and head of color and trends and special projects at K-Swiss. You're cooking up some major heat, brother. I'm proud of you.
Trying.
And there's no such thing as trying. So you're doing it. And we were just talking about the law of acceptance.
Yeah.
So accept the compliment, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
You deserve it.
Appreciate it.
It's amazing, man. So, you know, kind of like what I was telling you a little bit before we were on air, you know, the premise of Kicking It with Sneaker Steve is just bringing in the different people that I've met throughout my life. I've met you years ago. Do you know, when did we meet? Officially? Do you remember?
It was in the 90s.
Okay.
We had a plethora of mutual friends.
Was it at Sprint? At the store?
Definitely at Sprint.
Okay.
And maybe at one of the basketball courts, one of the schools.
Okay. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Bayside.
Bayside, okay.
But I spent a lot of time in Corona, Elmhurst. By the time I had met you, my first time meeting you at Sprint, I had known you already. We acknowledged like, oh, hey, I know this guy, you know?
Okay.
But we weren't like really well acquainted, but we knew each other's faces or whatever.
Got it.
I was doing the club flyers, putting your name on the club flyers as the promoter.
Yeah.
Parallel lives.
Okay, that's it. All right. I mean, that was so big back then too, you know, like just all the club promotions and everything that was happening in the flyers, you know, especially with like Camilo and everybody back then in Queens, 90s.
Crazy.
Now, what were you buying from me back then at the store? Like, what was your thing? What were you into?
I think I went.
Was it North Face?
No, I was in there looking for a spider jacket for my brother.
Spider jacket.
He was really
that I
keen
remember.
He was really keen on getting a spider jacket. I don't know what he saw. He's like, because we had North Faces, right? And he was really, really like protective of his black and red North Face that he had. That I wanted to borrow it, and he'd be like, nah, you know. And then it
What was it, like a Gore-Tex mountain jacket, or was it a Steep Tech in black and red?
It was a puffy red.
Oh, just a puffy red and black. Okay.
He was like protective of.
Got it. Okay.
Because we always shared clothes. I grew up
Yeah.
poor, whatever, you know. And, you know, back then we wore the same size.
All
Everything
right.
was big and larger than life.
Yeah.
There was no fitted. There was like extra large and nothing less. And anyways, from there he graduated into wanting this spider jacket. And he got the tip that someone in Elmhurst was selling it. So we went around and around, my dad and I, looking for this damn jacket. And I know we went in there to see you. And I don't know if it was prior to that or after that, we went in with, you wanted a website for the store. So someone had recommended me, and we were talking briefly about me doing work for the store.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we had that conversation in the store.
I think I'm remembering now back then.
Yeah. I have the mind of an elephant. I remember the weirdest stuff. Small, little, minute things that you're like, what? I'm like, no, that happened. It's not a dream. But yeah, that was early Steve and Homie interaction.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, back then, were you designing at all? Like, I mean, so you're doing the website and you're doing like club flyers.
Yeah.
But then where did you go to college?
Parsons School of Design.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best design schools in the country.
Yeah, honorably, man. Amazing experience.
Wow.
Boot camp for art.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then when you went there, did you already know? I mean, of course, if you're looking to get into Parsons, and even, you know, being accepted at Parsons, means that you had a very special skill set. Like, what did you apply with? Because you have to show a portfolio to be accepted.
Yeah. I had to apply and go in there with a specific, you know, showing off a particular talent to be worthy of getting in. And, you know, I grew up skateboarding, just to segue into that. So I grew up skateboarding in and around Queens, eventually into the city at a young age, talking 10, 12, between 10 and 12, like hitting the city, skating. And
were you sponsored?
I wasn't officially sponsored because on the East Coast, those were few and far in between opportunities, like it was here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I got flowed product left and right from different companies, but I was never like official documentation sponsored, I'm on the books kind of deal. And so the benefit of that, though, is that I met so many people skateboarding. Just going into Manhattan, nobody was literally from Manhattan. Everyone was from the five boroughs, or Philly or Jersey or whatever. So we ended up with this amazing tight community of skaters from all over, and that was like my first taste of networking, straight in and out. So fast forward into Parsons. So I go to Parsons to apply. And I knew I wanted to go into design because when I was skateboarding, I learned early on that that wasn't going to be a future to sustain myself. So I'm like, man. But because of skateboarding, I got into art,
Okay.
you know? And it wasn't until my mom told me, I remember this vividly, I was like junior high, elementary going into junior high. We were coming back from a family gathering, you know, big family, opinionated uncles and aunts. Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I want to be a designer. So of course, the negative comments, you know, designers don't become famous and wealthy until after they're dead. So I was like, so I think my mom picked up on that, like, oh, I don't want to discourage my child. So when we were on the car ride home, she says to me, you know, there's designers that are alive that are well off and successful. And I was like, oh yeah, like Oscar de la Renta. And I was like, he's Dominican. And I was like, what? Like that blew my mind because
there was a Dominican designer that was wealthy.
And not only that, but I was a naive young child. I didn't know that these design houses were real people. I thought they were made up names. This was before the internet.
Yeah.
So fast forward going into Parsons, when I'm in high school, my senior year, you know, it's funny, I went to Bayside High School and it was for art. You know, it's a sports school, but it's an art school. And everyone around me was talking about college from a completely non-art perspective. Oh, I'm gonna go for psychology, I'm gonna go this and that. Nothing to do with art. So I'm lost. I'm like, damn, what am I gonna do in my life? And I walk into my last Spanish class of the year and Mr. Boreal. So I'm sitting in the first day of class, lost. I'm like, whatever, I'm not into this. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't wanna just apply to school just for the hell of it. And all of a sudden she's talking about in her class and she goes, like Oscar de la Renta. And she has a portrait with him, a photo of him together with his wife. Wow. I had never seen the man before, never saw his face. Meanwhile, that was when my mom mentioned his name and put him in my radar, I was 12.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how life is that I'm in this classroom and she points at this photo of the dude that I've like in the back of my mind, no, he's a reference to success, he's real. And that's when I was like, I want to go to art school. Done. So I apply to Parsons, I go there to show my portfolio. I walk in and the admissions counselor is one of my ex-skateboard boys.
No way.
That I knew from like
That's crazy.
Years ago. I hadn't seen him in like 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, and like I walk in and it's like, yo, what's up? So, you know, not that was like, oh, you're in just because of that. He just really guided me. He mentored me. Here's how you have to prepare your portfolio. I want you to go home and work on this. I see you got this. I see you got that, but you don't have this. So he really mentored me and helped me,
that's amazing.
you know, just hone my skills and present a portfolio that was, you know, good. And that helped big time because I went home, man, and I was like, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with my parents and my sister and my brother. So my studio was the kitchen when they went to bed. So I'm in the kitchen drawing, whatever, for like 5-10 days straight.
And that was in Flushing?
Yeah, it's in Flushing, Queens. And sure enough, man, I presented my portfolio and a month later, I finally got an acceptance letter and I was like,
sick.
It's done, let's go to art school. And it's crazy because, you know, teachers were like, did you apply to school yet? And I was like, yeah, I applied to one. And they're like, that's not a smart move.
Yeah.
And I was like, where did you apply? Parsons. Like, ooh, tough, you know,
so
good luck with that
in,
one.
Yeah.
They're like, you should apply to some other schools. I was like, that's all I want to do. If I'm not going to do that, I'm going to take chances elsewhere. So a lot of teachers were shocked that I got in, and you know, the rest is history.
Yeah, so Parsons, you get in, it's amazing. So now, what were you studying there?
I went for communication design.
Okay.
So that was the major. So it was I earned my bachelor's degree in fine arts with communication as the major.
Okay.
And so the first year was literally boot camp. It's called Foundation. So you have to take liberals plus all your art classes. It's like 11 classes a semester. It's crazy. And the art classes are intense, which is amazing. I mean, literally boot camp, night and day, trying all different mediums. So anything from 3D design to digital design to drawing naked people all day, which sometimes was pretty nice.
Okay.
Sometimes not so nice. But
okay.
And it's just a couple other classes, but yeah, it was really amazing.
And Parsons in Soho, it's right by NYU. So
literally.
Already you're coming from Queens, you're already being experienced. I mean, as a skater, you were already going downtown and probably Brooklyn, but like now you're also experiencing college downtown.
Yeah,
which is
it
incredible.
was amazing. It was perfect to have been skating there, like you said, and like being in that neighborhood and just being like, yeah, this is my neighborhood. It's just as much as my neighborhood as it is in Queens, because I spent so much time in and around Washington Square Park, which is down the street from the school.
You're up the block from Supreme.
Exactly.
DQM was there.
Literally, yep.
Nort.
Yep, all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Incredible times, man, in terms of all the people that were in and around the area just chilling.
Now, does Parsons have any dorm life or no? Or
Yeah.
Did you dorm or did you commute?
No, I commuted.
You commuted,
I
okay,
commuted. Yeah. Didn't I mean, I was lucky enough to get in, let alone afford everything else that came along with it. I was fortunate to get some aid, some grants, some scholarships, a whole big package to help pay for it. Even like that, I had to pay out of pocket, and it was chump change for what it is for the entire tuition, but it was still a lot of money for me.
Sure, of course.
I just paid it off a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but yeah, the dorm life was interesting. I hung out in the dorms a few times. I don't think I was gonna be able to do that though.
Yeah.
Could you imagine coming home from a day of class and like somebody ate my moto and my chicken? I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do the dorm life.
So then from after Parsons, what was your first job, or what did you do there?
So right after Parsons,
Was that Apple?
well, shortly after. So here's the catch. So when we were graduating, we graduated 2001, May of 2001. And our chairman of the department, of the communication design department, gave us the heads up. We had like our little like graduate pre-gathering kind of mixer, and told us, hey, look, things are really tough out there. The economy is really bad.
Yeah.
Jobs are going to be very hard to get.
What year is this?
This is 2001.
Okay.
So hey, things are going to be really tough out there. Keep your head up. It's not because you're not good enough. It's because the job market is really bad. People that are going to walk out of here with a job are just not even a handful, and that's because they have an internship right now that may lead to a job, but that's not guaranteed. So the whole class was like.
And did you intern anywhere while you were at
Parsons? I did a
Parsons?
little bit, but nothing strict, nothing consistent enough to lead to a job.
Got it.
So fine, we graduate. The thing, he was 100% right, and then September 11th happened.
Ooh.
Months later. So
really, right after you graduated?
Yeah. So that just.
Wow.
That was not even icing on the cake. That was just done, no work. So I just started to freelance, started to do photo retouching for some magazines, more flyers. And then fortunately Apple had kept my resume on file because they were gonna do like a campus rep kind of thing at Parsons. But I guess they scratched that because they're gonna open the store. So they're like, we're not gonna do that anymore. So all of a sudden I get hit up by Apple, like, hey, we're looking for some like-minded people, artists to come work with us. So sure enough, I went for the interview. I got in, and it was crazy because my friends, family, my parents, they were like, man, you paid all this money for art school and you're gonna work retail?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's all good. I'm gonna get paid to network with people. Because mind you, I already understood the power of networking, skateboarding and everything, knowing people from different walks of life, different states, countries. So I was like, I knew that was gonna open opportunities for me. I went in there with that mindset. I'm gonna meet a lot of people. I'm gonna be stationary, which is people coming to me. And they didn't get it. They were like, what's this guy talking about? Like, this guy's delusional, like whatever. So sure enough, I was at Apple, and then eventually you walked through the door.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's the reason why I'm here right now.
Yeah, man, of course. You deserve it.
Years later, right? Like we hadn't seen each other in years.
Yeah, it was an interesting time because at that time, DC Shoes had just set up the New York office.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I remember. We just set up the DC Shoes office in Times Square.
Yep.
It was me, Buscemi, and Ryan Cross.
Yep.
And we needed computers.
Exactly.
And I was trying to get a discount. Meanwhile, it's like, that's Queens. That's some Queens hood shit. Like, it's like, we're a $100 million company. I'm still looking for the hookup. So I think I hit you because I wanted, like, people that don't know, is like you get like Project Red or like Red pricing, which means you get a 5% discount and maybe 10% on software if you have a corporate account at Apple. And that's what I was excited about. I was like, I need a discount. Like, we're gonna buy all this stuff. I believe that was it. It was either that or it was at Gauzy when I had the showroom also in that same building and I was buying my own equipment. Or was it DC?
No, because it was DC.
It was DC, okay.
Because Gauzy was before Apple.
Okay, got it.
The store didn't exist. So the store opened in 2002. and you came in one day and you were like, hey, exactly. But you spoke to it because I had an office in the back upstairs, so I wasn't really on the floor that much at that time. And you had asked somebody, like, oh, you want to talk to Homie? And he's like, Homie? Yeah, I want to talk to Homie. He's like, yo, it's got to be the only one I know.
Yeah.
I come downstairs, you're like, yeah, Game of the Records. And you're like, what? Come step into my office. And you're like, this is crazy. Yeah. And I'm like, I work for DC Shoes. And I'm like, yo, we're in reverse roles, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
You're
selling.
Like, what are you doing in a skateboarding company?
You're in a skateboard company? Like, how did this, yo, our lives are crazy right now.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, we got to talking. And I said to you, I was like, hey man, instead of spending 30 to 100K on a billboard here in Soho, why don't we do a collab? And you were like, yeah. And you know, next thing you know, we had dinner with Damon, we had dinner with Ken, you know, we had a dinner with Dan McCarthy, like a whole bunch of people. And then I'll let you tell the rest.
Yeah, I mean, that was around the time we were doing the Spotted Pig shoot with Mario Batali's restaurant.
Yep.
And we were doing, I remember Damon had got on a plane to San Francisco. This for everyone listening, Damon Way, founder of DC Shoes. He got on a plane to San Francisco and he just, of course, Damon's luck is just so incredible, right? He sits next to the founder of InCase.
Yep.
So they get to talking, and then all of a sudden later it's like, oh, Damon's like, oh yeah, I'm like a part of InCase now.
Yeah.
And we were, you know, of course, Damon was such a big Apple fan growing up. And I said to him, look, my friend Homie. He's like, what? Homie? I'm like, yeah, it's a real name. Story of your life. I was like, my friend Homie is the retail manager for like corporate accounts at Apple Soho. And you know how me and you are, we're dreamers. So we're like, And I had a budget. So I'm like, look, I go back to DC Shoes and I'm like, look, we're gonna make, because we were opening up, I know what it was, we were opening up the first DC Shoe store in Soho.
Right down the street.
Right down the street.
Yep.
So we're like this, instead of the advertising campaign, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you 200 pairs of black striker shoes with ballistic nylon, with an InCase bag, in the special Apple colors, and we're just gonna give it to you for free, so that when every single staff member gets, you're giving them a pair of DCs and an InCase set. And an iPod case, because back then it was still the iPod.
Yep, it was
right?
a folio. Mm-hmm.
And you're just gonna give it for free. And what did the Apple staff say when you came up with that?
They were
like
Queens kids. We're just like, what do these guys think? Like, how do they even come up with this? How do they make this happen? And it's like, I'm telling the managers, hey, because I was part of managing. There was 317 employees at the time in this store. 317 employees in one store. You know, this store broke $1 million in one day. Like, you know, I remember opening day and like the GM is like nervous, like I don't even know if we're gonna make the rent. And next thing you know, we're breaking records. You know, this is the store that Steve Jobs would come to and nitpick everything and be like, close the store, fix this, whatever. So it was really all eyes on this store.
Was that one of the first like glass staircases?
It was the store. This was the first store for what the Apple imprint is today. It was the first store of the mixed medium. So it was the first store of the stone floors, the first store of the blonde tables, the glass, the aluminum, all in one. Before that, the glass didn't exist. So the glass was the new thing of it.
Yeah, I remember.
Whereas all the other stores were like, you know, like wood floors with the blonde wood tables and stuff like that, you know, and glass here, glass there, like the dividers. But this was the first. Like, you know, I can talk about this now, but this staircase was so expensive. It was crazy. You want to know how much one step? One step. I saw the bill. They had to replace one because it got chipped.
How much?
85 grand for one step.
Oh my God.
85 grand. And there was, mind you, it was like
50.
It was like,
or 75 steps.
No, it was more like 30 stairs.
To go all the way up?
To the top, something like that. Like
God.
30 to like 35. Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
About close. With the platform, yeah, because the platform was really big in the middle.
So a $4 million staircase.
Yeah, it was crazy.
At least.
It was crazy. So you can imagine, like Steve was like, it was crazy. Like he would come in there, because I got hired 9 months or whatever it is before the store opened, so we had to train off-site until the store was ready.
Did you meet Steve?
briefly, hi, how are you? That's it. You know, I'm not that type of person to like fan out. Never was, never will be.
Is he a handshake guy, or is he a or like a little bit? No,
yeah, he was super chill, super quick. And
shoes or no shoes? I mean, we are on Kickin' It with Sneaker Steve.
He
so I heard
in his local, like his neighborhood store, in the Cupertino store, he was known to come in barefoot. There he had shoes on.
He had shoes on. It's New York.
It's New York.
Yeah.
So if he didn't come in, I'd be like, man, you a gangster with that, even in New York. But yeah, so he came in several times, and I remember, you know, this is before the store opened, and we would be in there fixing stuff, putting all the merchandise out for like 4 to 5 days before opening, and we got kicked out several times because he's like wasn't happy with certain things. And
oh wow!
Because he just wanted things perfect. So I remember like being like, all right, you gotta go, because he was just like going like let loose on somebody.
So it's real, like that. That really,
yeah. That store was. I'm telling you, that store was a big investment. It paid off, obviously, but it was the first store of that magnitude. There was nothing. Not even half the size of that store before then. Everything was very small, and you know, it was crazy what they spent. And I mean, the projector
I'm just thinking
alone
like right now, like the audacity of me and you being like, we're just gonna make an Apple collab sneaker after
Queens
that.
kids,
like
we're
right
crazy.
now, thinking about that, I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Even the manager there was like,
what are we thinking?
How are you gonna get this approved? I was like, I got it.
How did you get approved?
I spoke to the head of marketing. And I was like, look, this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
And this is why this is going to happen, because it means this much to the culture.
Okay.
You know, and like, obviously I'm not expecting the Apple logo to be on this shoe, but it's about the culture.
And we put Soho in the app, actually the Pantone of the logo in that gray.
Yeah, because we had, at the time, we had these really amazing shirts made by Gap. They were like tech knit. It was like before knit. It was crazy, and it had a rubber tab on the shoulder with the Apple logo debossed into it, like a mold. It was a rubber mold, like sneakers, and it was very like techie and like very Steve Jobs, like semi mock neck. Yeah. So I was like, let's do it after that. You know, let's match it up with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the head of marketing at the time was like, I love it. Let's do this.
Sick.
It's crazy. And my managers were like, how in the hell? They were like, whatever. They were like, this is crazy, but and the next thing you know, all these shoes showed up at the store.
I remember,
and they're like,
I remember emailing you, asking you for the size list.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, give me a week or something.
Yeah.
Like, and you see all the employees' names, and you're just like sizing.
Yeah.
You must have been the man.
Yeah. No, people
like
were
to give
tripping.
away 300 pairs of shoes.
Yeah. People were tripping. I remember a lot of people started to email.
And the case was sick.
I still have it.
Yeah.
That's my toiletry bag. It travels around the world with me.
Wow.
It's crazy. I just remember like the HR manager got kind of pissed off after a while, because people would apply saying, if I get the job, will I get a pair of shoes? Like, it just got out of control. And she's like, no, there's no more shoes. That was a one-time thing. Like, she was annoyed. And I was like, whatever.
Oh my God, that was amazing. History, brother.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I always tell Damon too, like, I was like, yo, that in case Apple relationship came from Queens.
There you go.
That was definitely Queens.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, you know, as the story goes, of course, then I immediately took you out of Apple. I recruited you, and I was like, come on, we're bringing you to the West Coast, and then hired you at DC Shoes.
Yeah, it was like I got my degree from Parsons. Now it's time to get my degree from DC Shoes. We're kicking it with Sneaker Steve. Let's do this.
Yeah. How did that feel coming from Queens? I mean, the thing that was special about you is that you had the design background. You worked at Apple, you know, which was incredible. And then also, but you were a skater. So you knew more than me anything about skate. So for me, it was a no-brainer to have you on board. I was like, look, you're perfect. Like, you are literally the position, creating product as a skater for skaters. So for me, when I hired you, I pushed like crazy to get you on board. And literally, it wasn't even like a question. It was like, I think it was a little bit of timing. It's always, you know, in corporate.
It was close to the holidays too, so yeah.
Corporates, you know, companies take a little bit more time to make a decision and like really make something happen. But for me, it was a no-brainer. You came on board, and then even after I left, you continue to stay there and just doing incredible projects, you know, while at DC. So that was dope.
Thanks, man.
How did it feel, like you being a skater, and then actually being in meetings with Ken, with Damon, you know, with Jeff Pang, like just all these legends. Yeah. You know, Jeff you probably already knew from New York, but just Rob Dyrdek, just so many of them, you know, onward and onward.
I will say it was a dream come true, because growing up, I had mentioned earlier that I had finally realized, right, going into high school, that skateboarding wasn't going to pan out, you know. being on the East Coast was just that much more difficult to, land a deal, like an official sponsorship, get paid, and that was very, very challenging. So, yeah, man, coming to DC was like a dream come true because I always wanted to go to California. I always wanted to get out here and try my luck at getting officially sponsored, but didn't have the money to get myself out here. I was young, and I took my chances with art. So it's amazing that even though I took a turn into a different, craft, like it got me to California with a skate heritage brand. So it was incredible. It was just, like I said, I don't fan out, but being in those meetings with those guys, I was like, this is surreal. This is incredible. Chilling with Rob, with you, and all these people, and just constantly like since I have this memory of like an elephant, like just walking down these streets in California and getting deja vu, but I've never been here before. But like I feel like I've been on this street. It's because of all those skateboarding videos that I watched. So I would literally walk down the street and be like stopped and be like, 5 stairs, tray flip, blah blah blah. And like people be like, you all right? I was like, no, it's just that's the stairs right there.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like going to like the sports arena, Danny Way, 360 over the gap, like just tripping, like
it's crazy because we
not
just
knowing.
had drama
Yeah.
on we had drama on the show as well, and he said the exact same thing.
Wow.
Like going through like let's say Fairfax High or
Yeah.
whatever it was, or
Yeah.
Hollywood. They're not a staircase. It's not a high school. It's the steps that so and so did from this video, from this part, and it's literally like, and he would just go there just to look at it.
Yeah.
Nothing was happening.
Yeah.
Just to look at it.
Yeah, but yeah,
Wow.
not even just going there, just happen to walk by, like going somewhere and be like, wait a minute, oh, I know where I am. Like this is crazy. Like that looks tiny.
Wow.
It looked a lot bigger in the videos, and it still happens to me to this day. Like my wife is like, okay, you're tripping me out right now. I was like, I need a minute. I just realized I've been driving past this hundreds of times a week, and I just realized because I'm walking what it is, because I'm actually walking through. She's like, yeah, this is crazy. Like whatever.
Oh man. And then what about the first time you saw Danny Way?
So the first time I saw Danny Way,
How does that mean? He's Superman.
I mean, he's my Jordan. Literally.
Yeah.
Like I appreciated Jordan. I obviously grew up with his son from the very beginning of his career. But for me, Danny was definitely like, wow, I've just met
Iron Man.
Yeah, I've just met like the all-time craziest athlete that you can ever hope to meet in your life, and just befriending him and being cool with him, and it's amazing, man. It's a trip. Who would have thought?
I know. Now, a question for you: was DC or working with DC, was that the first time you really got to travel the whole globe?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd been away before. I had been to France with Parsons because they had a school out there. It's just like a program. So I went to just visit it and to go study there. Obviously, the Dominican Republic growing up every summer, and Puerto Rico, mainly on this side, the U.S. side. But that was the first time, I went to Germany. I went to, different parts of Asia, Korea. So yeah, I mean, I remember starting DC. Within the first year, I'd probably had visited 7 countries. Within the first year, maybe more.
Yeah.
A total of altogether at the time I was there, maybe like 19 countries. It's insane. Incredible, man. I'm telling you, it's a degree from DC Shoes. It's amazing. Saw more there than Parsons by far.
It's incredible. To me, I'm thankful of that opportunity as well. Growing up the way that we did from really humble backgrounds, growing up in Queens to literally being able to travel and see the whole world and seeing business at such a big magnitude. DC being owned by Quicksilver, which is over $1 billion company. So to understand business at that level and be a part of it has been incredible. When you've seen it at Apple and then also see it at DC Quick, is really something that's special, because you got to see the world from that lens, and seeing it as a skateboarder must have been incredible. Yeah. It's like almost like if you are the most amazing basketball athlete your whole life growing up, or you aspire to be, and then you get a job for Jordan Brand, and then meeting Michael Jordan, like you said, that was your Danny Way.
Yeah.
And, to give something back in terms of like feedback to the audience and to the people listening, what do you think were some of the skill sets or some of the the mindsets that you had that you believe that got you there, like to DC or even to Apple? What do you think of some of those things? Like when you could have chosen, different paths. What do you think are some of those mindsets that you can share with the audience so that they can hear, like, what was running through your mind, or what you feel like that got you there?
I think what got me here is people like yourself, obviously, and it was just the simple understanding, like I mentioned earlier, about learning and appreciating the power of networking and always being kind to people, because not because you're like, hey, I should be nice to you because I don't know who you'll be in the future.
Yeah.
Not on that level, but like, you're a guy, you're cool, like I respect what you do, and I'm always gonna cheer for you, and always have that open mind for the people that you come across, and keep it as humble as possible. And meeting all these people throughout the years has definitely helped. I would say it's 20% talent on my part and 80% on the people that I know that got me here.
So your network.
Yeah, by far.
Wow. I'm a big advocate of the same thing. It's just like they always say, your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
And I believe I'm here today because of my network. I'm an aggressive networker. You know how I am.
Yep.
And I do it because I know that it's very important. And anything that I've attracted into my life that's very big has been through my network.
Yeah.
And with you, I think that's one of the things that even me thinking about it, you're the type of person that everyone loves. Like if you mention your name to almost anybody, be like, yo, I love Homie. I love him. And it's always the same thing. Like, yo, I love that dude. Yo, Homie, I love Homie. And I believe that you really, do you consciously think about that? Like, hey, I want to be a nice guy, a nice person, and I want to, just be kind and humble. Is that something that's conscious? Or do you believe that that's just you, naturally, that you're just that and you don't even think about it at all? You just happen to be a nice guy? Or is that something that you actually work on and say, hey, look, I need to continue to be humble. I need to be a good person. I need to be genuine. And let me make sure that I project that every day.
I've never once thought about it. It's in my DNA, and I get it from my parents.
Okay.
Because they were always they're loved by everyone around them. Like my dad's like the center of attention at the family gatherings, the funny guy. Everyone loves him. He's the eldest, so which makes me the eldest grandson on my dad's side, and he's one of 11. My mom's one of 14.
Oh wow, okay.
So I have over 30 plus first cousins.
Wow.
On each side.
Yeah.
So I've always been looked up to.
Yeah.
That's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
With the family. And again, just because my mom, you just summed up my mom. Everyone that mentions my mom's name, oh, I love her. Oh my God, So I guess growing up as a kid, always seeing how my parents were loved by others, I guess it was just ingrained in me.
You get it naturally.
It's like,
it's in your DNA.
Yeah. I've never had the ambition to just disrespect someone out of the blue.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard for me to want to do that. It takes a lot. So, I guess, I've never really given it the thought I have to be on my behavior. I have to be nice.
Yeah. That's dope, because, it's a big part of your strength. I believe as a person, me knowing you for so many years, a big part of your character and your strength. And I believe that that's why you attract so much. Because people, when they think about it, like, oh yeah, I love Homie. Yeah, he's a great guy. Like, let's support him. Let's help him in any way. They think about you. And then in total, how many years were you at DC?
I was at DC just slightly over 5.
Okay.
5 in like a few months.
Got it.
So I got my ring.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then now, after DC, where did you go into?
So after DC, just a few months later, I was on a hiatus. Like I was, fortunately, I knew my time was up a year in advance with DC. I just, following the business very closely where the things were going. And so I had planned for it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get knee surgery. I'd messed up my knee several times because of skateboarding and basketball. So I was like, all right, you know what? Let me take advantage of my insurance. I'm going to get knee surgery. I'm going to travel the world after, my last day. So unfortunately, stuff really hit the fan, because when I finally parted ways, I had a property in San Diego, because DC moved up to Huntington Beach with Quicksilver, and I have a property back east. So they were rented. So the property in San Diego, the renter was a military person and disappeared on me. So
I remember you told me that story. It's
wasn't
crazy.
Paying rent. The person in the East Coast, on my property in the East Coast, was like, sorry, I gotta go. So I was like, So here I am paying for
No
two
job,
mortgages, 2 cars,
Wow.
rent. So I was like, there goes my plans of traveling the world
Yeah.
in the meantime. So funny enough, coming back to the power of networking. So after that, my wife and I were like, all right, we'll figure this out. We're like, of course, I'm not stressing it. I'm just like, it is what it is. I'll figure something out. So then I had already planned that I was going to go to Japan.
Yeah.
My wife was like, you're bugging. Don't do this. Like, don't spend that money.
Yeah, now, right?
And I'm like, trust me, no one's going to want me sitting here on the couch hitting up LinkedIn all day. It's not going to happen. In your world, maybe because that's formally you have to apply to jobs. In my world, it doesn't work that way. So I went to New York to check on my property because of Sandy, Hurricane Sandy. So I went there, checked the fam, whatever. Came back and she's like, you're still going to go to Japan? I was like, yes, I'm going to go. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, no, don't do this. So I'm getting on a flight to Japan and Marcus Troy, he's literally sitting next to me.
Randomly.
We're going together. We had planned to go. We had planned to go.
All right.
And so
Marcus Troy, the blogger, for all the listeners.
Shout out to Marcus Troy.
Yeah.
So he's like, he gets an email and he's just like, he goes, I just got an email about you. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, somebody emailed me and they're looking for someone, and that someone, it's you. It's definitely you. Like, this is what you do. And I was like, who is it? And he's like, it's Palladium Boots. And I was like, I know Palladium. He's like, well, yeah. He goes, well, he's looking for someone. Do you mind if I connect you?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. Boom. Get back from Japan, interview. I get locked in with Palladium Boots.
Wow.
My wife was like,
immediately.
Yeah.
Like how? Like a week later?
Yeah, I get back. I interviewed with Barney Waters. He was the VP of marketing at the time for Palladium Boots. And so we met. Obviously, we hit it off. And then he's like, all right, I need you to come back so you can meet, the president, CEO of the company, K-Swiss, who owns Palladium. So I went back. I go back to meet him, pull up to the parking lot. I park my car, and then I notice this older gentleman get out too. And we're walking towards the building together. But I'm like, hey, how are you? And he was like, Homie? And I was like, yeah. He goes, I'm Stephen Nichols. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes, I'm the president. I was like, oh, yeah, I know you're right. He goes, Queens? And I was like, yeah. I was like, what part of Queens? And I'm like, you know Queens? He goes, Far Rockaway. And I was like, I'm from Flushing. And he's like, what? So
perfect.
Queens. So right away, I'm like,
Queens rules.
I was like, I think I got the job.
Yeah.
So then we walk upstairs, we hit it off, we're talking about and he's much older. So again, mind of an elephant, memory of an elephant. And I'm like, yeah, I remember the stores because he owned Stride Right.
What?
Yeah, that's how he got started.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, I remember the store. He goes, kind of young there, buddy. And I was like, no, I remember Tom McCann's Favor. He was like, whoa, how old? He goes, wait a second, these stores don't exist anymore. I was like, yeah, no, I hit the streets. I know what's going on. Tom McCann's Favor, JCPenney's, or Anna Strauss. And he's just like, who is this kid? Like, you can't know these things. And I was like, Anyway, so we hit it off, and he made me an offer. He made me a fair offer. He's like, hey, look, maybe we might not like each other, you may not like us, or vice versa. How about we, bring you in as a consultant through the holidays, and then we'll re-up in the new year. And this was again, it's like November, whatever it was. Fair, cool. Did it, helped him out. We did the BBC boot. That they did. So I worked on that, the gray one, not the green one, the second version. And then January rolled around, and I was full time.
Sick.
That was it. Then eventually became the director of Palladium.
And the big moral of that story, remember, is that you still hopped on that plane to Japan after knowing that there's no job, 2 mortgages, a rent, a wife, baby, right?
Not yet.
Not yet, right?
Not yet.
And you're like, right now, and I'm still going to Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes a lot of just faith.
Yeah,
I believe it's faith in yourself and just trusting that life is going to go, and really believing in yourself. It takes a lot to believe in yourself to say, no, I'm not going to just sit here, at my house trying to apply for online. I'm going to continue to live my life, and you're going to attract something. And you did it, fearlessly, and that takes a lot of courage to do, especially when you have your family and you have all these expenses on the line.
Yeah.
It must be scary, it's a scary.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely to some degree I acknowledged the risks, but at the same time I didn't let those risks stop me because you know, I wouldn't feel any better about myself saying, let me just stay put and sit on the couch, you know, and, you know, whatever, and just waste away. I was
and
like,
what do you think some of those skills are? Like, because that takes a certain mindset to say, look, I see the risks in front of me, but I'm going to continue. Most people will stop.
Yeah.
Most people will say, hey, life is telling you something. You got 2 mortgages, you got a rent, you got a family, you got no job.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
and go find somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think is that something that's like innately a part of you, or like how do you?
I think what drives me is meeting people, like wanting to expand and explore. That's why I'm a city dweller. I love the energy of people around me. I'm not a beach person. I can't, my idea of a vacation isn't to go sit on a beach somewhere. Like, I can't handle it. Like, I just, you know, hours into it, and I'm like, all right, done.
Got it.
Let's see some action. Let's see people, because I want to meet people. You know, and I think that's, without people, there is no work. Without people,
that's a big part of being from Queens.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because it's
the melting pot and like all the different cultures. I mean, my building alone is a 7-story building. You know, it was like the United Nations in my building alone is just Chinese, you know, all different parts of Asia, you know, all different parts of Latin America, black, like everyone was all in there. And it was like hearing their music and their food and day in, day out. Just my building, let alone the block, you know. So I guess, that's a part of where we grew up. And going to Japan, like, I gotta go.
You gotta go.
I gotta go. This was a plan. Like, I had made this plan to go. I didn't buy the ticket yet. I made the decision after everything unfolded.
That's even more real.
Yeah, it's like
the ticket wasn't bought,
no,
and you still bought the ticket.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta go, and my wife was just like, oh my God. I was like, it's gonna be okay.
Wow.
You know, I'm not the type of person to panic. Like, the worst thing you could do is panic. I'm very like collective and say, okay, what good can I do?
Got it.
Versus how much can I retract?
Yeah.
You know, it's the other way around.
It's a great mindset. Like, what good, you know, you know, that's being an optimist. And so I know that Palladium, you were there for how long?
Palladium, just a little over 4. Yeah.
4 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I went fast.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. And then what position did you start, and what position did you end up at?
So I went in as global product line manager.
Which is already a big position to start with?
Yeah, it was a small team. It was just myself, a lead developer, like a retail marketing person, head of all marketing per se, Barney Waters, an analyst, and the president of Palladium, which is separate from K-Swiss. Very small team. So we had to all wear multiple hats, you know, pick up boxes, whatever we had to do to get it done, you know.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then after Palladium?
So then after Palladium, I switched over to K-Swiss.
Nice.
Yeah, because Barney Waters had jumped in to take over K-Swiss. Well, he became the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer for all brands under the umbrella, and then eventually just became strictly focused on K-Swiss. And, you know, he was always like, yo,
just in case, jump on over.
You want to jump on over?
Yeah.
So, you know, he was always, you know, divulging his plans for the brand, and, you know, he's a talented guy, and, you know, just like always, like, I had my ear, and I was like, he's gonna change this. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, hey man, as bad as K-Swiss could be right now, or just not on the radar, it makes it that much more memorable, and your achievements of turning it around. It's a bigger accomplishment. And he's like, all right.
So how did you start at K-Swiss? Like, what position did you enter in at K-Swiss?
So I entered into K-Swiss as the head of merchandising for the Americas.
Got it. And what year was that, or how long ago?
That wasn't long ago. That was just a little over a year ago.
Wow.
Just a little over a year ago.
No way. So all these new, because we were talking about the heat you got dropping, you know, at Complex Con, and now all these collabs came within a year.
Yeah.
So you hit the ground running.
Yeah, hard. I mean,
wow.
So like the Gary V thing, like, you know, that honestly, that's what made me, without question, jump over to K-Swiss.
Got it.
You know,
was that already on board before you got there, or like because they had already talked to the president?
Yeah. So you know, Barney was always telling me what he was working on, and he's like, you know, I got this thing I want to do with Gary V. He was just an idea. Gary V was an idea, and I was like, that's amazing. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, you got something. This is gonna be big. Yeah. You know, because he had already established K-Swiss being the brand that's outfitting the next generation of entrepreneurs. He had already established that. That's our new thing. It's first, we're an American
internally at K-Swiss.
Yeah, we're interesting. First of all, we're an American heritage tennis brand, that is now outfitting the next generation of entrepreneurs.
Amazing.
So hearing all this while I'm on the Palladium side, I'm like, damn, he's on to something.
Generation K.
You know, he's on, yeah, exactly. He's on to something. And I'm like, wow. So I was seeing it unfold. Little by little. And then eventually he's like, hey, you want to jump over, Olive Branch, we're going to reorg all the umbrellas, like everything under the umbrella.
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity before things really change. So he threw me an Olive Branch and I was like, I'm in. Because he was just getting there with Gary V, like having real talks and building it up.
Wow.
So yeah, and then the rest is history. We got working on the product with the team.
So let's see some shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you got some heat there.
Get the drop in.
Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh, this is so sick.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So here, break this down, brother.
Sure.
Yeah,
So this is the Gen K Icon Knit, Gary V 001. And
so sick. I need a pair of those.
Of course.
Size 10.
There you
I
go.
wish I could just drop ship one of these 10,
Boop.
like drone delivery.
You can get one.
Payload.
You can get a pair at ComplexCon.
Okay.
So we basically broke it down with a significant color scheme, and it's made up of green, gray, and white. Okay. And it's based off of this team that he's on the quest to own someday.
Okay. Yep.
So that's where the color scheme came from, and basically this is an all knit upper shoe, but then it's also split. So you have the 5 stripes on the inside.
Sick. I love that on the medial side.
Yeah. So
now, what idea was that? Was that your idea to do a splitter, or this shoe was already made?
No, yeah, the shoe was already designed by one of our head designers at the time. And it was, a group effort, obviously, and just, working with him and picking his brain and just inspiring him to come up with different ways of doing it. And, what he finally came up with, everyone was like, wow, you got it. This is it. Keep going with this shoe. We're going to make it happen.
Video.
Yeah. So basically the shoe is going to drop at ComplexCon.
Oh, sick. And then can you explain the bottom too?
Yeah, so the bottom is an ice tread, so that allows you to get quotes under there, different graphic schemes. And so this is a graphic that Gary V's team came up with.
Sick.
And it's a lot of quotes from Gary V.
Yeah.
Don't be fancy. Yeah. The list goes on and on. Eat dirt, kill it, crush it,
Crush it, yeah.
all that stuff,
Oh, it's so sick.
It's got the Gary V signature right on the tongue, embroidered in there.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to wear these.
Nice.
Definitely. Oh, this is so dope. All right. All right, now here we go. Woo! We got more dropping in.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I see the made in Japan too.
Yep. That's our
And
classic
carrots.
66.
This is sick.
That is the original K-Swiss shoe from 1966, and we actually have those made in Japan now.
With the carrots, awesome.
Yeah. So we're also going to drop those at ComplexCon.
So
and we
sick.
decided to go with the Japan makeup for Anwar Carrots because he has a great following in Japan.
Yeah.
So this was a great opportunity to offer a premium, original K-Swiss classic. So now you have a combination of the future K-Swiss with Gary V, and then you have a retro with Carrots. So it's a nice setup.
It's so beautiful, so premium. I mean, I don't know if everyone can see it in the video, but it's just like, really, it's beautiful pebble leather. The hardware is nice. I mean, I would definitely wear this shoe. Like, it's really, really nice. I love the sole too.
Yep, so it's all 100% made in Japan. The soles are pressed in Japan. The steel's in Japan. Everything's in Japan.
And these will also be at ComplexCon?
At ComplexCon, limited pairs at ComplexCon.
You got some heat. All right, here we go. All right. It's for the ladies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure we came correct and we had something for the ladies at ComplexCon.
This is so dope. This pink camo.
Yeah, so this was with Leah McSweeney from Married to the Mob. Interesting story behind this. We did a collab also at Palladium, which was amazing. And then, to rewind quite a bit to the very beginning, Leah McSweeney set out to start her brand to go against the grain. Yeah. She was, in an environment that was completely dominated by males in the streetwear. Supreme, Sir, all that stuff. So she grew up with those guys. So she's like, I'm going to start a brand. I'm going to start the first women's streetwear brand. And she's going to go down in history. I mean, she's done amazing collabs aside from this. I believe she's the only female brand to do a collab with Cause. Wow. To my knowledge, I think she's the only one. So she's got that down in the books. And we now have this collab. So obviously, a pink camo scheme. Looks sick. Women wear camo, guys wear pink. Yep. Little mashup. Will it be in guys and women's sizes both? No, this is just for the ladies. All right. So interesting connection between Leah and I. This, aside from the Palladium thing, I sold her Mac to start Married to the Mob. No way. Yeah. Back at Apple. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so she came into some money, and Sir
Yeah.
was like, you need to go see Homie.
Okay.
Because she's like, hey, I want to start this brand.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
I need a Mac.
hey guys, point me in a direction. I want to do this.
Yeah.
You need to go see Homie. So sold her a Mac, rest is history.
Sick.
And, yeah, so this is a all new shoe called the Aero Trainer.
So now she's married to the Mac.
So it's got the 5 stripes carved into the sole.
Oh, wow.
Wraps all the way around into the medial
it's
side.
so sick.
It's a whole new tread. Beautiful silhouette and last. So yeah, the inside has a little quote from her that says, be funny, be brave, be flawed, be unique, be interesting, be you.
Dope.
So it's nice. And then the laces, the second lace says, well-behaved bitches seldom make history.
That's right, facts.
So she's on it.
Yeah, and I love her podcast too. I listened to
Amazing.
the one with Laura. Shout out to Laura
Absolutely.
Stiles. And definitely check her podcast out as well. I just listened to the one with her and Sharifa.
Yeah.
It was
Amazing.
hilarious. Yeah. Dope. And then you have one with Karen Seville too.
So Karen, we've only done some campaigns with her as of right now.
Dope. Okay.
As of right now. There's
Okay.
stuff, a lot can happen
Yeah,
from here in the future.
I don't know you're cooking. That's a different show.
Great,
Cooking with Homie.
brand ambassador for us.
Yeah,
So that's going to be the lineup at Complex Con. It's like K-Swiss Row.
Okay.
We're going to have our little row, a little boulevard. So we got these 3 things. They'll have their own separate booths and stuff, and we'll be selling these at Complex Con.
Oh, dope. I'm so excited. Now, like for you, we have a segment on the show which is like current rotation, your top 3. Right now, what's your current rotation? What's the top 3 shoes you're wearing? When you're traveling, around
Yeah.
the world, what's your top 3?
So what I've been wearing right now is something that drops in January.
Okay.
And this is the SI 2018.
Okay, dope.
And this is based off the original SI 18 International. So that was a special shoe for K-Swiss because it was the 1992 shoe of the year. So this was a tennis performance shoe that beat out any shoe that came out that year. It was
82?
Yeah, 92.
92.
It was
Oh, wow.
the shoe. It beat out whatever was out from Nike. It was the first time that K-Swiss really designed like a high performance tennis shoe. So it was really stood out. It was like, wow, this is crazy. It looks crazy. It's very in now with chunky shoes.
Yeah.
So this is an ode to that. So this is coming out in January of 18. That's why it's called the SI 2018.
Sick. Yeah, I love
So
it.
yeah, it's
When
a
you were
full-
wearing the white, I loved it in
Yeah.
the white too.
So this is amazing in terms of comfort. I mean, I can't take them off. The inside, everything that's the way it's built for performance, but with a lifestyle twist. So working with the head designer on this shoe was like, how do we design a shoe that performs and looks like a shoe you want to wear every day? Like, how do we create a shoe that gets demoted to the court versus the other way around?
Sick. Okay,
You know?
demoted to the court. Okay. Nice.
So this is definitely my top, the top shoe. I wear a pair of the knits that you saw in a different color scheme. It was a black, red, and white. So
Sick.
wear those with a brown leather trim on the stripes on the medial side. And those are the shoes I'm really wearing these days.
Just 2. So there's no top 3.
Yeah, I'm just wearing
2.
those 2, just back and forth between them.
What about colors?
I was wearing the OGs, the SI 18 Internationals.
Okay.
And then these came out. Well, didn't come out, but we designed these. And then, the minute the designer laced me with a pair, I was like.
And
"I'll take
are
these off."
those sample size?
No,
But you're not
these-
sample
these-
size.
Yeah, these were made up for me. He was
Okay.
like, because I was so into the project with him that I
Yeah.
was like, man, we gotta rock. This is gonna be the shoe.
Got
it's
it.
gonna be the shoe. Like, he's got 100 shoes under his belt.
Oh, that's
I'm
dope.
like, he's like, this is just another shoe in my belt. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is gonna be the shoe.
This is gonna be the shoe.
I wore it to the Gary V launch at Shoe Palace, the white ones, and people were freaking out. They were like,
Yeah.
what
I
in the
mean,
hell?
even me, I thought I wanted a pair. I was jealous.
Yeah, everyone in line at the Gary V thing was just like, what are those? And they were like tripping out, taking photos of my feet. The staff at Shoe Palace was like, what in the world? And because I called it, I was like, this is gonna be the shoe.
one.
It isn't the shoe yet, but I
Yeah.
know it's gonna be.
Is that white colorway dropping, the one you have?
Yeah, so in January we're gonna drop the white one, which is the original OG color,
Yeah.
the staple red, white, and blue. The navy, this one, the royal blue, and then we'll have like a kind of like a powdery army green one.
Sick. Now, talk about real quick that Gary V launch at Shoe Palace, which just literally shut down the block.
It was insane.
I mean, me and you were at Soho House. Thank you for inviting me to the after party.
course.
And we're at the after party, and they're getting the calls, and he's like, Gary's still at the store.
Yeah.
Because the people didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
He wanted to talk to everyone last one. Epic, thousands of people, more people than the Yeezy launch.
Yeah.
Like, that was insane. And that, for me, I was talking with when Will from Institution and from Wander said about just that people want substance. I think
Absolutely.
that there's a stigma out there that Either people just are hype beast, they just want stuff for hype, they don't know what they're doing, they're just buying stuff, or they're resellers. And I believe that, you know, one of the big reasons why I was so hyped when you told me about the Gary V collab was that now there's substance. Like, that to me is massive.
Yeah.
That, you know, and that an entrepreneur will bring more people than a Yeezy launch.
Yeah.
That to me was huge.
It was incredible. I mean, Gary Vee is a force of nature. I mean, I've been listening
Thousands
to the guy.
of people, yeah.
I've been listening to the guy ever since Barney uttered his name for the first time, saying, "I'm thinking about Gary Vee." And I was like, I know of him. I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
But from that day forth, you know, I was still on Palladium side. I started listening to Gary, and I'm like, man, Barney's onto something. And that was early. And I was like, this is going to be crazy, you know, if this guy agrees to work with us. And yeah, I mean, you know, Gary just, you know, was all in. He knew right away what it could be. You know, he was already saying, I'm gonna, you know, because we're like, we're gonna do a collab with you. We'll make 1,500 pairs. And he's like, what? He's like, no, I'm gonna do 40,000 pairs. And, you know, we're like, oh my God, what's going on with this? He's like, no, this is how we're gonna sell X amount of shoes. And he's breaking it down, like the strategy. And Barney's like, oh my God, this is crazy. Fast forward, we do this thing. And we decide to it's just a general release. It's not his shoe. This is just launching Generation K with Karen Civil and Honor Carrots, all these people just supporting because they are entrepreneurs and like-minded people in this current, you know, generation. So that's all it was. It was just a launch at Shoe Palace at the Gen K line, and you can buy the shoe and get a wristband to wait in line. Or you can stand on the general line without buying anything, which, you know, who knows if you'll get in because it's only from 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Man, it was so crazy. It was like, it was split on the corners. It was this way and that way, and it was over 2,000 people. So, you know, and the thing
on
is—
the corner of Melrose, right there,
The thing is that line, the non-wristband line got so long, not because they didn't want to buy product, it's because we sold out. We didn't have product to sell them. You know, we had to ship Shoe Palace, I think, 3 times, and it was out, it was gone, you know? So basically at that point,
wow,
people were just coming up to the line, to the door, like, I'll buy whatever you have in stock just so that I can get a band. And like, we don't have anything. You have to stand in line. So fast forward, we're there and we get to 10 o'clock. Well, we get to 9 o'clock and they're like, hey, we got to wrap up soon. And he's like, I got to meet these people because we're getting a count. Hey, there's still X amount of people still waiting outside. And sure enough, 10 came and he's like, we got to shut. And they're like, oh, because it was till 9. And he's like, no, we got to go. So the Shoe Palace people were great because they're like, all right, we'll keep it going for another hour. So around 10:15, 10:30, they're like, we got to shut this down.
Yeah. Store's got to close.
He's like, all right, well, I'm going to go outside. So Gary Vee just wraps it up and walks outside, and it's like, next. It was incredible. I stood there till about 11:45 with him, like,
oh my God,
watching this. And I'm like, this is crazy. And his focus and his attention with all these people, like, it was amazing to see. It was incredible to see the interaction and like his genuine focus on every individual back to back. He never cut off. He was just like, yeah, what's up? Hey, all right, yeah, I remember. Okay, cool. Amazing to see. That alone was like worth every second of being there. Just seeing him. Some people cried. Some people were just really excited to be there. It was like Michael Jackson came back from the dead, dude. It was like the love for this guy was so intense that, like, you know, I listened to him, so I understand the amount of love people have for him. But to see it is another thing. To see it in person is completely different. I mean, people walked in with like empanadas with his logos on it. Like, people like came in with these gifts, and it was crazy. It was insane.
Oh
it was
my
incredible,
God!
man.
Wow. Well, I'm just so excited, brother. That you're a part of this monster thing, and like Complex Con's gonna be incredible. The whole team there. Now we have another thing that we do a segment here, which is like, if you were a sneaker, who would you be?
That's a good question. Wow. If I were a sneaker.
Yeah, what sneaker would you be?
Man, there's so many in my past that I'm like, I would feel like I'm dissing a child or something. What sneaker would I be? You know, like, I would say right now, just with the way things are, the trend, I would say just to be in the mix, I would want to be like a Vision streetwear shoe that had the lace cover on it.
Sick.
The sole was crazy, the upper was crazy, you know, like one of those like Airwalks that I had like back in the day. The crazy like aqua color one.
Yeah, I had those.
Yeah, man, with the lace saver.
All right, that's the illest one.
It would be that.
Well, brother, we're gonna end it with that, man.
That's awesome.
I love you, man. I'm so proud of you. You
Likewise.
continue to inspire me as
Thank
well. And before we leave, I see that you're wearing the Evident Future, Fear of God.
Absolutely, man.
Hat, you know, shout out, you know, of course, to Fear of God and Jerry and what he's done with Will, his brother, with Leo, you know, for passing, rest in peace. You know, somebody that inspired us so much as well, coming from Queens, you know. So rest in peace to Leo, and I'm just glad you're wearing that Queens represent, Evident Future, Fear of God, man. It's amazing. And just, you know, I just want to celebrate life, celebrate you, brother. Love you, man.
Love you too.
Yeah, Kicking it with Sneaker Steve. We did it.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Mellow Records.
Out.